Welcome to my YouTube retrospective, as known as the final YouTube video I'm doing with my voice in it. Yes, folks, it has come to that time. I've hinted at this for about a year and a half or so, and depending on how you want to word it, longer than that. It's been a long while since I've been a fan of YouTube as a platform, to be quite frank. And I'm not even one of the ones majorly affected by YouTube's stupid decisions, and I still have a hard time supporting the platform. Really, about the only way I quote unquote support the platform anymore is that there's still some people that I like watching that are on the platform. I'm very much for everyone that's on the platform that still watches putting their videos on LBRY and Odyssey. But to be quite frank with LBRY and Odyssey, while it's a great platform, way better than YouTube, there's still just not as many people on the platform yet. So I understand why some people will still stay on YouTube, because as of now, it's still the bigger platform. 10, 20 years down the road, I'm not so sure, but I do understand it for now for those that do still make a lot of money on YouTube. But I'm not so sure how much longer it's going to be that way. I have a lot of the same complaints a lot of people do about YouTube. Unfair censorship, not giving out money in correct ways, DMCA in unfair ways. What I say is what a lot of people have already said in a much more eloquent way than I could put it. But the main thing with me as well that a lot of people don't say, because a lot of people that said it on YouTube ain't on the platform, is that there is just simply a better platform out there. Well, I have my gripes about Odyssey. It's still better than YouTube, and LBRY is a whole heck of a heap better than YouTube. LBRY in every way is better than YouTube for a creator like me, because I'm not big enough in terms of subscribers to stream on YouTube anyway. So really about the only benefit for me as a creator, YouTube versus LBRY, is the streaming. And I could stream back in the old days, but they took that away because YouTube is lazy or something. Seriously, back in the old days I could just take my phone and do a live stream on YouTube. Can't do that anymore. You need a third party to go through it and do it. Like, I can stream through my PlayStation 4 to YouTube, but I still need a third party to do that, so that's stupid. And so as a content creator, LBRY to YouTube, there's literally no advantages of YouTube whatsoever. Even arguing of YouTube's a bigger platform, that doesn't really work that much either, because on LBRY, I started in mid-2019. Granted, the site was small back then, but I've been able to grow from mid-2019 to now to a channel that is well over 10 times bigger. I don't know the exact map. I think it might be somewhere between like 12 and 13 times bigger than what I have on YouTube. And relative to the size of LBRY versus YouTube, that's the equivalent of having many hundreds of thousands of subscribers on YouTube. Like, seriously, if the site scaled equally, I would make a comfortable living right now. Like, probably if I did this for 10 years, I'd be a multi-millionaire. If the site scaled equally. And again, they very much should. If anything, LBRY should be bigger than YouTube, and then because they're pretty much the same platform, Odyssey as well. So hopefully that will be the case one day, and that's what I'm banking on. But for me, as a content creator, there's really no reason to use YouTube to put my voice in it. The main reason I did that more recently is because it's about the only argument that could possibly be made. It's just straight up, YouTube has a more powerful algorithm because there are, for now, more people that use the site. With the main Gran Turismo 7 analysis video, the one that's 41 minutes, I posted every link that I could to other things through Odyssey. The only bit of YouTube involved with that was I put the initial video on YouTube, as essentially a test and to advertise for LBRY and Odyssey. I say in that video, watch on LBRY and Odyssey because that's where I'm going full time, and then when I am. So the only thing about YouTube was basically to advertise LBRY and Odyssey, and still that YouTube video is nearly to 300 views now, and it's less than that on Odyssey, even though again my channel is 13 times bigger there. And I posted the Odyssey link, not the YouTube link, to the various sites that I'm on as well. Still, the YouTube video does better. There's no denying that about the one thing that could maybe make an argument of staying on YouTube is the algorithm. I still don't fully agree with that argument because there's algorithm for and there's algorithm against. Another argument that people put way better than I could is the algorithm against certain channels. And it definitely exists. There's no denying it. And it's not even 100% even certain channels. It's certain videos on channels. Like, I've had videos that very much went against the algorithm, and then videos that went for the algorithm, like the GT7 analysis video, which I knew going in would at least get somewhat of an algorithm. I didn't know exactly how good or bad it would do. But ultimately, it's on pace. I didn't link it anywhere, and it's actually on pace to do better than the GT7 analysis from the first trailer. I'll put it that way. And that's certainly something. But there's plenty of even my own videos on this channel, LBRY, that got negative algorithm. And there's no denying it. There's too many to really say. There's more videos that got against algorithm than for the algorithm, I'll put it that way. So, while certainly the algorithm does help in some points, no matter how popular a video gets on YouTube, I ain't gonna make money from it, so it doesn't really matter. The only reason I've been putting anything on YouTube recently with my voice in it is to advertise for the platform that is bigger, that is better, that is making me money. That's it. And I don't really see much reason to really do that anymore. Because, well, yes, if it does get pushed with the algorithm, then that's more people getting advertised LBRY and Odyssey. And that's great. I don't really see all that many videos in the future that will honestly be pushed for the algorithm. Like even the Crew 3 announcement type video. I don't think that would have been too much push for algorithm because it's a leak. It's not all the information coming out at once. So therefore not too many people would really be searching for that. So there would be no need for the algorithm to push it. The only time really the algorithm will push a video if everybody's searching for the same general thing, like GT7 trailer analysis, GT7 trailer reaction, whatever it may be. It's really about the only time one of my videos will get pushed for the algorithm. And I don't see any that type of video coming out like soon. But the closest thing that I can think of when Forza Horizon 5 comes out, I'll review it. But even that, I don't think will be pushed too overly lot because Forza Horizon 5, while it's going to be a great game, it's not going to be like a monumentally different game. So there's not going to be too many people really searching for Forza Horizon 5 review. They're going to be searching more for the gameplay or the stunts or the tuning of the cars or whatever it may be. So I don't see a video coming up that I would make that would get pushed with the algorithm all that much, so I don't really see much point in continuing on YouTube. I might as well just go fully to LBRY and Odyssey with having my voice in the videos because that's what's making me money. The platform is bigger, the platform is better. It's just straightforward. Again, like I've said before, I'll keep videos that are just completely, it goes directly from the console to YouTube on there. Because from what I can tell, that just straight up does help with the quality of the video captured, like resolution, frames per second, all that type of stuff. Because if I were to have the video, save it to like a flash drive or something, and then upload what's on the flash drive to LBRY and Odyssey, I'm pretty sure the quality would go down. But if I do it to where it just goes directly to YouTube and then that gets directly ported to LBRY and Odyssey, just the resolution is better, frame rate's better, all that. So I still use YouTube for that, but if there ever ends up being a time in which LBRY can do that in and of itself, like LBRY has an app for Xbox and PlayStation or whatever that can do that thing, Probably the app would be Odyssey, but still same difference. And that sense is getting the video over to the platform that I'm using. Then I'll be done with YouTube completely, just straightforward on that. But until that happens, I probably will continue using YouTube for that, just because I don't want the quality of the video to go down because of it. I have been offered just straightforward, and I don't think I'm the only one, so I don't think this is a wink wink huss huss type thing. I think it's fairly general. Of that, if you only have the videos in the library, you'll get more LBC. And well, yes, I'm doing it as a career, and that's nice and such. I don't want to do it to sacrifice quality. I'm not the type to just do it completely for the money. I want the videos to be as high of a quality as possible as well. So, again, my hope is I won't have to worry about that for much longer. My hope is eventually LBRY gets the buffering issue fixed, and I don't have to record these type of videos in 480p. I can do it with the screen completely formatted correctly, like there's a bars on the screen now with 480p. Hopefully, eventually that will be fully corrected, and I can record at least in 1080p like I could for when I was putting the video just on YouTube. And then hopefully there'll be a time as well for the capture from the console type videos that can just go directly to LBRY and Odyssey and not have to worry about YouTube. But we're not there yet. Hopefully there will be. So for now there will be that aspect that's still on YouTube, but I can't fully help that. Overall, I still think it's for the better. And it's not like I'm not advertising for LBRY and Odyssey when I'm doing a direct capture video from a console. Anyway, if you're generally speaking, I'll have something or another referencing Odyssey and LBRY more times than not anyway. So if people look into it, they still ultimately are advertised the better site. Anyway, so whatever. Again, hopefully the situation will come where I don't have to worry about this, and that is more of what I'm banking on. To be quite frank, a lot of this is more of a risk, and there's no denying it. I've been straightforward to say that the amount of LEC being made on LBRY, the amount of views on LBRY, all that has gone down. But I think a lot of that is still out of the platform's control as they're getting sued unfairly, in my opinion, by the SEC. So that's just a negative aspect of that happening. Hopefully, after the LBRY wins the lawsuit, as I said, they should be able to win it. All that will go back to normal, and that's what I'm banking on. I'm banking on stuff going back to normal as it was in, say, January of this year, in terms of profits and all that. I'm banking on stuff going to where I can port everything directly to LBRY, but it's not a downright confirmation that's going to happen. So while, yes, this is kind of a risk, and there's no denying it, it's a low risk in that if I were to just continue putting the videos of my voice in it on YouTube, the vast majority would barely do anything when they all do well on the LBRY. Again, they're the very few that do get pushed by the algorithm. But to be quite frank, 90% of videos that I put with my voice in it would do noticeably better on LBRY and Odyssey than on YouTube, and there's no denying that. Nothing against those who watch me on YouTube, but still, that's just straightforward. That's just math. My channel's that much bigger on LBRY and Odyssey than YouTube, and that's just how it is. I mean, downright, it's straightforward. If it was an absolute perfect world, then I'd be able to make a living on YouTube enough to be comfortable. YouTube wouldn't be evil, and yeah, I'd still probably be on LBRY and Odyssey anyway because it's too cool. But they would be in unity and not necessarily competing with each other. They would just be helping each other, and the creators could go to the different sites for the different things and formats of the sites and all that. And what offers and all that, but no, they are pretty much rivals, and one is obviously better than the other. Odyssey and especially LBRY are winning that rivalry. Just YouTube has been winning for a long while before, just by default. They've had a 10-year head start. So not everyone realizes that LBRY and Odyssey is winning that rivalry right now. Overall, yeah, I'd rather it not be a rivalry. I'd rather YouTube be like it was in 2013, 2014 or so, when the DMCA they did correctly. I don't know what happened with YouTube, and I don't think we'll ever truly know. Why suddenly DMCA, which started in 1998, started getting enforced in a different way in like 2018. I really don't get that in the slightest. Because they did somewhat of a DMCA back when I started making videos. I've even had some of my videos back, old videos, affected by it in an annoying way, but overall it was still more fair and noticeably more fair than they're doing it now. Like even the Beavis and Butthead library level, or not, like Little Big Planet level, LB, and that confused me. Little Big Planet level, LBP, not LBRY. Little Big Planet level, that got a copyright claim for a song of a video that I clicked on the thing in YouTube where they did that is 2 years old. That level on Little Big Planet is like 6 years old. How can a level made 4 years before that song was posted on YouTube get copyright claimed of that song on YouTube when it's 4 years behind even the level? That's one of the main reasons I'm moving is I don't want to be punished for someone else's mistake. I don't know if it's YouTube screwing people over with that. I don't know if it's the song creators being greedy. I think a lot of the times it's some of both, but whatever. I don't want to deal with it. There is still DMCA with LBRY because it's an American company, but the way to do it on there is it doesn't seem to be manual, or it doesn't seem to be automated. It it seems to be in a way that somebody actually has to say it's messed up before it's taken down. On YouTube, it's manually done by the AI. Like there's even a bit now where they quote unquote check your video, and they will do that even before the video comes out. So even before video is public, they're deem your video to be good or not, and that's sort of kind of messed up. That's the Big Brother type thing. I feel like they're watching you even before you do the thing, even before the thing is public. They know if you messed up or not. That's too much for me. I don't feel like dealing with that anymore. There's not much of a reason at all to deal with it, and especially not compared to the other site. So, yeah, I'm moving on. And I've taken a while to do this as well because there has been some drawbacks with LBRY and Odyssey. Like I said, the amount given of LBC, frankly, is noticeably lower than it was before, but again, it might be out of control. Odyssey in general getting more of a grasp than LBRY had is somewhat of a negative, but they're still way better than YouTube has. YouTube's gotten a lot worse in a lot quicker way. More than that, too. Actually, I don't know about more. I'll say longer than that. It's been of a longer period than that. It's just I grew up on YouTube. I know that's a cliche, but in my later childhood, like I don't think realistically I watched all that much YouTube, like 2008, 2009 or so. So I wouldn't say like young kid or whatever, but I'd say teenager to teenager years. Yeah, I grew up on YouTube in later childhood. I probably started watching YouTube for like the Gran Turismo 5 leaks. To be quite frank, I watched GTA 4 stuff on there, like even that had mods and like Machinima and all that in like 2008 and stuff. One of the first videos I remember watching on YouTube with incredibly slow internet, it buffered and stuff. Was like a GTA 4 OJ Simpson car chase thing in like 2008. And it had like the GTA 4 style of the white Bronco and stuff, people shooting at the back and stuff like that. Yeah, I've been on watching YouTube videos for a fair bit of time. I'll say that. YouTube was way a different place back then, though, and still quite a bit different. Even when I say it hit its prime was somewhere 2013, 2014 is. Because a lot of people say YouTube hit its prime 2010, 2011 is. But remember, back then, too, though, it was harder to actually do video game content because the monetization wasn't really the same there for the big YouTubers to be motivated to do it, and even for the small YouTubers as well. The only way they could do it to avoid getting struck by not a copyright strike, but struck by the video games themselves, because the video game companies didn't realize then it was good advertising. They thought back then that it would hurt them. Ultimately, obviously, the popular videos of the video games that helped the advertisers. They just didn't realize that back then. So especially like Nintendo and stuff would strike down videos and stuff of gameplay. So back 2010, 2011, a lot of people just had to go to Machinima or whatever it may be to get their videos on the site, and they couldn't really do it their own because of the risk of getting it taken down by the video game company. By 2013, 2014, that wasn't happening anymore. So in my opinion, that's when YouTube peaked, was roughly that. That's when a lot of video game stuff started to get mainstream. That's when you started seeing the very, very beginning of crypto type stuff. That's before the political stuff got extremely toxic. In my opinion, that's roughly when YouTube peaked. And that's probably roughly when I watched the most YouTube videos. Well, actually, I was even somewhat tentative about saying it. I actually don't know about YouTube videos. I might watch more YouTube videos now because I go on and off of people streaming and playing GT Sport and stuff. But time watched on YouTube was probably 2013, 2014 is the most I watched. Like, I'm typical of a lot of people say of the age field nostalgia, blah, blah, blah. I watched a whole heck of a heap of like Vanoss Gaming and Jacksepticeye and stuff like that in 2013, 2014 when they were allowed to swear, not worried about getting demonetized and all that. And when they could actually do the skits of the game with music and all that, not worry about overly exaggerated DMCA and all that. Those were the times, and yes, I am kind of the cliche nostalgic for those times. That's why a lot of it too, I'm tentative of leaving YouTube. Is just there were the good old days. There was a time in which YouTube was a legitimately good company. It's like EA, they were good in the mid 2000s. It's like 2K Sports, they were good about 10 years ago. It's like YouTube, they were good back 2013, 2014. Just none of them are anymore. And it's sad. I know a lot of it's cliche nostalgia. I remember the old, like, Nerd Kid was prime videos back then, and even like non-gaming stuff I watched back then, like just it was, I think 2013 14 around there were still Vines and all that, but it wasn't too much TikTok. Like the videos were recorded in a way in which you used your TV as the format. It wasn't recorded for your phone yet. There were plenty of videos out there for tutorials and all that even back then, so that was nice too. I watched, I'll be quite straightforward, I watched mainly gaming stuff back then. I still probably do now, but still, YouTube was at its best then. And even I started a little bit after the best. Like, even when I started in 2015, it started being to the bit in which people started criticizing the content creators for abusing the algorithm. That started around 2015 or so. Like, the Leafy is here type controversy and all that, that started in like 2015 or so. So even when I first started on the site, they already started creeping in various controversies and stuff. And then like by 2016, 2017 is when you started getting more of the edgy channels canceled and stuff. And that's when some people had to switch up their content. Like we pretty much all know about Filthy Frank going into like doing music and all that. A lot of examples in that. And then obviously 2018, 2019 Adpocalypse, DMCA being terrible, all that. By mid to late 2018 onward, YouTube was too far gone. And then, like, even in mid 2019, when I found LBRY, I've told this story before. I found it somewhat through another person who I was somewhat involved with like tuning and stuff, high boost, garage, high boost racing, whatever terminology used for the video, or high boost gaming, I guess I'll put it like that. Who I was never featured in one of his videos, but back in GT6 and stuff, we'd do like drift stuff together and help with tunes and all that, because I think he's on GG Planet for a bit, so I'm not gonna downright like 100% prove like I'm really connected to him or whatever, because I mean, frankly, I haven't been in any videos. I don't know if he's used any of my tunes and videos and stuff, but I will say that's a lot of how I found through the LBRY is through him. And he's on YouTube with like 1 million something subscribers. He has like 5,000 some of his subscribers on LBRY. He found LBRY before I did. That's kind of I ended up doing, as I wanted to check in on him in like mid 2019 or so to see if he was doing stuff GT Sport and all that, because I hadn't really done But since near the end of GT6, so GT6 ended in 2018, probably like mid 2017 or so. So I found him through LBRY. But I was also just straight up looking for a YouTube alternative by mid 2019. I was so fed up by YouTube at that point. Well, yeah, I was probably going to continue doing videos on YouTube no matter what. And lo and behold, I still did for a while. I wanted a better alternative, and I found one. I ultimately, I still think if I wouldn't have found that HiBoost was on LBRY, I still would have found LBRY within 20 minutes or so because I was looking for that anyway. But I mean, even before LBRY, I tried Car Throttle, like posting videos on there. I tried DLive posting stuff on that. That didn't go anywhere. Car Throttle was not unsuccessful, put it like that, but it wasn't permanent. And then I've always been on GT Planet. I was on GT Planet before even YouTube. So it's a thing, but I've been looking for YouTube alternatives for a long time. It's just happened that LBRY worked in every way, shape, and form. I got way more of a following on LBRY. I was able to make money on LBRY. Again, not as much now, but I don't think they fully helped it. LBRY, just every way, shape, and form, was definitely beneficial to the point of there's no real reason staying on YouTube. Yeah, nostalgia kept me on there for a while, like I was saying, and it didn't saying at the beginning, as well as just the formatting and stuff, but that can only be taken so far. Like I've said, with many different aspects of many different things, I'll try to be loyal when I can. Team Mopar and stuff. I always fan the Kentucky Wildcats. I went to university again. Kentucky is a college. Full ride scholarship. Good grades there. Able to keep my. I've told that story before. But just because I'm loyal doesn't mean I'm always going to stay with something no matter what. Like, I'm loyal to something that stays at loyal to themselves. YouTube hasn't stayed loyal to themselves in the slightest. Like, Mopar, yeah, that's pretty. They're quite loyal. Like, they still do like Ricky Bobby commercials. Like, have you seen the Dodge commercials? It's like Ricky Bobby and Cal Naughton Jr. when they're like 8 years old, and it's like Reese Bobby when he's like 40 or whatever instead of like 50, whatever in the movies. Yeah, Dodge and Mopar and stuff pretty much the same as they've always always been, and that's cool. Also, like, uh, I'm not gonna get into it. I'll just say middle ground and move on. And but yeah, they are still loyal to themselves. Stuff has to change for the times and all that, but they're still loyal to themselves. YouTube ain't. It's been time and again proven, and even the creators and stuff vouch for it. YouTube was initially made because they wanted a site out there so they could see the nipple slip from Super Bowl mid 30s. I can't remember the exact number, 34 or 36, something like that. And they wanted a site that could sell that. That didn't fully make sense because I swear there were already porn sites at the time that were. Well, I didn't know that because that was like 2004 or 5. But from like later on research and stuff, still, I swear that was a thing. But whatever, that was still a valid excuse, and you can look that up. I'm not sure exactly how to word that, but I'm sure a lot of people's already heard that anyway. That was the point of YouTube, but now it's literally the complete 180 opposite. They bend over backwards to music. I don't know why. Video gaming is the biggest industry. Video game make more money than music now. Video game make more money than any other entertainment thing. YouTube started in a lot of ways from video games, and at its peak through video games, I don't know why they're starting to be way more invested in music now. I'm not against music in general, obviously, but let's be quite frank, video game is in general making more money than music nowadays. But YouTube just bends over backwards to music now, to the point of DMCA is overly strict, to the point of that's what they brand more now, that's what they push more now, and I don't understand it. YouTube went from way of it truly was YouTube. You posted whatever you want to their tube, and now it's do what they want or else. Like it used to pretty much be the reverse. You could do what you wanted, and to an extent, they would take the controversy. They could be edgy and all that. I don't think you could ever post anything that's just straight up illegal on there, because I think pretty much immediately the site was still fairly big, even like in 2005 and stuff. You couldn't get away with blatantly illegal stuff, which is how it should be. But still, there's an argument to be made that like 2006 YouTube and stuff might have even been edgier and allowed for more stuff than 2021 LBRY, except for the quote unquote adult content. I guess the better example would be 2021 Odyssey, because Odyssey does censor some stuff, and again, I don't fully agree with Odyssey compared to LBRY, but it's still better than YouTube. But there's an argument to be made that even like 2006 YouTube was more edgy and got away with more stuff than 2021 Odyssey, because back then you could post just whole videos of like TV shows and stuff, and a lot of times they still didn't get caught. But even in 2021 now, you see the live streams of like Family Guy and stuff that get you recommended even though you never watch it, and you see live streams of those kid shows that are terribly made and ultimately aren't really made for kids. They just look like it on paper, and then really they ain't. A lot of times they're fucking GTA. Yeah, Grand Theft Auto gets promoted to kids on YouTube, and they're complete hypocrisy 180 of what they used to be. And YouTube's not loyal to themselves anymore, and I just can't deal with that. I'm loyal to things that are loyal to themselves that I've been loyal to before and always. But once it gets to the point in which they're not loyal to themselves, and especially when there's an obvious alternative out there that's better, I'm moving on. There's a lot of nostalgia out there. There's still the formatting stuff out there that, again, hopefully ends up not being an issue in the future. But still, it is time to move on. No offense to those who've watched me on YouTube for over 6 years now, but yeah, my channel predates even the beginning of LBRY. LBRY started in 2016 officially. I think like the demos and stuff were a little bit before my channel came out. But like for people using the site, started in 2015. My channel on YouTube even predates the entire site that I got big on. But even still, age doesn't warrant staying there necessarily. And that can be used in a lot of different things. Just because something's been around for a long time doesn't necessarily mean it's good anymore. Look at EA, look at 2K, whatever you may be with that. So, yeah, it's time to move on. Again, perfect world, I didn't necessarily ever want it to get to this point, but it obviously is now, and we're far beyond the point in which it can go back. The only way I ever see posting video of my voice on YouTube again, if it's something extremely downright major that's like life changing or whatever, which is highly doubtful, but I would say 95% would never happen, and pretty much 0% in the next year or two. But it would probably only be a one-off type thing at all, and it, again, highly chance of it not happening. But the only way I'd see YouTube going back to how it was in the old days is when the platform is already on a free fall to the point of people are joining the alternatives like LBRY and Odyssey. Hopefully, mainly LBRY and Odyssey. There are other alternatives out there, but still. Then I feel like they would, if they want to save themselves, they go back to how it were. They wouldn't be promoting TV, a dying industry. They wouldn't be promoting music, a corrupt industry. It'd be back how they were to try to save themselves, but at that point, I'd think it'd be too little too late. So I doubt it'd even go back then anyway. I'm not saying that won't ever happen. YouTube is going to eventually have a free fall, and I feel like that's just straightforward. The way they're doing it now, being a complete 180 of how they started, that can't stay forever. They're promoting TV to an extent too, where I feel like just that in of itself is going to hurt them majorly. We know TV is a dying industry. I don't get why they're promoting it so much. Whatever. Not that big a deal, because I'm done with it. I'm done with YouTube, with having my voice in it. And again, I don't downright 100% want to be. I'd rather it be to the point in which they were as good as they were in 2013, 2014 or so, but we're not at that point, and it hasn't been for a long time. And in a usable feasible way, we never will be again. So at least there's a damn good alternative out there that I ended up growing on and can make money from. And while that alternative ain't perfect, and there's situations in which they can't fully control that is screwing them over, they're still way better than YouTube has been in a long time. And in a lot of ways, there's like features and stuff that just come with the times, and then obviously the cryptocurrency better than ever. But I mean, there's still no denying YouTube had a great peak. We're just a complete 180 removed from that peak now. So, yeah. Goodbye, YouTube. For probably 10 years or so, it was a yeehaw. Roughly 10 years, like 05 to 15. 16, 17 is starting to be not, and then 18 onward, no, it's opposite of yeehaw by then. But there's still nearly a decade or so of it being great, but we're just far removed from that point now, and it's time to leave. Goodbye, everyone who's watched me on YouTube. Again, I'll still obviously be making videos, LBRY and Odyssey and stuff, but yeah, I guess this is the point where it truly is done. Even from like 2015 and stuff, I made videos where I wasn't 100% sure if I'd be able to record another video game, but stuff ended up going my way. I was able to get a recording device going to college. I was able to work through some of the personal stuff, like probably even before LBRY and Odyssey. I think I made like 3 videos or so of not being 100% sure I'd be able to have another YouTube video with my voice in it, but persevered through that. But there's no persevering through this. YouTube is just too far gone. It sucks that I've had 6 years plus of doing videos and we're to this point, and that many more years of watching good videos and all that, but we are, and I wish we weren't, but we are. Still, there's a great alternative out there, so it's not a complete negative and all that, but it is sad that we're to this point. But YouTube is a sad, terrible company now. There were many years where it's definitely worth a yeehaw. Well before I even said yeehaw in videos. But it ain't now. So, yeah. Goodbye.